A flash
How
went
dare
off
you show
3
your
times
face
in
here?
quick succession.
You are nothing but a
Hold
common
it.
maid's
Tilt
daughter.
the teacup. Yes. Smile, man.
That is enough.
Beautiful.
She is my
One
daughter.
more.
You do not
The
belong
cameraman
here.
lowered the camera. The studio smelled of talc and imported hairspray. A white umbrella tilted toward a wrought iron frame draped in champagne satin. A banner hung from the ceiling. Ngozi Adekunle at 60, a golden mother. And beneath it, 200 white peonies stood in a Chinese vase. The woman on the set, Ngozi, did not see the banner. She saw the eggshell cup in her hands. She studied the pattern the way a midwife studies a newborn, long enough to memorize every vein in the glaze. She lifted it to her lips and smiled as if she had been drinking from that cup every morning of her 60 years. There, beautiful, you're done. The flash fired twice more for safety. Ngozi was escorted to the lobby. A black Chevrolet Suburban waited. A driver she had known for 14 years opened the rear door, greeted her with one quick nod, and watched her sink into the leather. Home, ma? Home, Tope. He closed the door. She sat alone. In the rearview mirror, she saw the studio shrink. It was 4:17 p.m. Lagos at the moment the city is hottest. The lagoon molten, every rooftop throwing back a blade of reflected sun. The photographer's assistant was already booking the convention center for next week's banquet. In the back seat, Ngozi closed her eyes. She whispered one name. A name one would never expect from a Lagos wife of an oil magnate. Ifeoma. It was the name of the woman who had cleaned her house, ironed her husband's agbada, packed her children's school lunches, walked 6 miles every morning for 19 years to reach the staff gate on time. The name of a woman quietly erased from the upstairs guest list and quietly added to the downstairs one. The name of the woman who had refused 3 times to call her Madam anything other than Mama. It was also the name of the mother of the only grandchild Ngozi could not openly claim. The Suburban crossed 3rd Mainland Bridge. The convention center sat on the far side. They would have to clean it twice, 3 times for the tablecloths. Ngozi did not say any of this. She waited. She thought about an eggshell cup and the woman who would never be invited to hold one. This is a story about a single hour, on a single Saturday, at a single party. The hour that would remake the future of a dynasty, expose the lie at the center of the most powerful family in Lagos, and fill the silent hall of a maid's one-room apartment in Iyana Ipaja with the one sound every proud woman prays her daughter will hear at least once in her life. Saturday. The Ikoyi banquet hall glowed amber. Long banquet tables sparkled under 15 crystal chandeliers. The Lagos skyline shimmered through smoked glass walls. 300 guests, old money Lagos, new money Abuja, 2 senators, 3 judges, 4 Nollywood producers, 6 former Miss Nigerias, and 1 patriarch in a wheelchair, filled the ballroom in waves of champagne, agbada, and gold jewelry. A floor manager at the entrance raised his hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our Mother of the Day." The crowd rose. Madame Vivian entered slowly. Gold asoebi wrapper, coral bead crown. The eggshell Wedgwood teacup held at her chest like a relic. Smile. Pose. Greet the elder. Greet the governor's wife. Wave at the photographer. Glide past the bandstand. Glide past the mayor. She stepped up to the podium. She lifted the cup toward the cameras. The flash fire-blasted the room 4 times in 3 seconds. Then she spoke. "My family. My husband, Chief Kenneth Adekunle, has been called the Tiger of Lagos. He built an oil company from a one-room office in Surulere into the largest private refinery in West Africa. But tonight, I am not here to speak about the tiger. I am here to speak about the woman who made sure the tiger had clean shirts every morning. The woman who raised my future daughter-in-law. The woman I never once thanked in front of a crowd. The room hushed. Vivian lifted her glass. I want to use tonight to publicly raise a glass to Ifeoma Okafor. She turned to a woman standing in the shadows by the kitchen door. Ifeoma, in a borrowed lace blouse, raised a glass of water. Her hands trembled. She was 49, 19 years in the Adekunle household, and this was the first time in 19 years that anyone in her employer's family had ever mentioned her name in a public room. Since we are all one big family tonight, Vivian said, and her voice began to harden, I want to introduce someone very special to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, my future daughter-in-law, Victoria. The spotlight swung sideways. Adeze stepped forward. She wore a gold gown Vivian had selected, strapless, heavy at the bodice, held at the waist by a hand-beaded belt. Her gele rose in 3 soft folds. Her coral necklace, earrings, shoes, all borrowed. She walked onto that stage in a borrowed dream. She lifted her chin. The flash fire-sprayed another 8 times. 3 guests, in 3 corners of the room, leaned to their neighbors. The girl who cooks for Vivian. Look at her. She does not even look like a future wife. She looks like a guest. The dress looks borrowed. None of those whispers reached Adeze. All of them reached the wrong ears. At the back of the room, a young man in a brown turtleneck closed his eyes. Chidi Adekunle. He had flown in from London the previous night. First class, 5 suitcases. The kind of son every Lagos mother bragged about in church. He opened his eyes. He saw his mother on stage. He saw the borrowed dress under the chandelier. He saw everything he had been told to smile about, and none of what he had been told to want. He took one breath. He took another. Then he whispered a single word to no one. Lagos. Amara. Ama Ojukwu. An only daughter of a widow from Awka. A first-class law graduate from the University of Lagos. A 27-year-old clerk at the Federal High Court. A black and white cotton blouse, no jewelry. A small loose plait behind her left ear. She did not bow. Madam Vivian, she said in a voice that emptied the room. I need to speak. Vivian raised her chin. This is a private family moment. This is a public celebration of 60 years, ma'am. I have paid for my chair. I have eaten your rice. I have drunk your wine. Now I need to speak. Speak. Madam Vivian, you have just introduced a young woman as your future daughter-in-law. You have just asked her to serve drinks in the apron of your staff. You have just asked her to apologize to a senator for being the future daughter-in-law of your own son. Madam Vivian, what your husband built, you did not build. The binders, the washers, the cooks, the gatemen, none of them built your husband's empire. They kept it running while your husband was at the club, while your husband was on the boat, while your husband was in Geneva. The wealth of the Adekunle family is, in truth, a wealth borrowed from the work of every maid, every cook, every driver, every gardener who has ever walked through a staff gate of your family home. Wealth is not a status, it is a stewardship. And to treat a girl as a chair because her mother fetched your tea, that is not privilege. That is cruelty dressed in coral bead. The hall did not breathe. Sir, she said, without looking at Chidi. You stand there thinking your last name is a man. No, sir. Your last name is property. A man earns the right to be called a man by how he treats the girl whose hand his mother has publicly requested. To bend the spine of the woman your own family has chosen in front of a senator you will never meet. Sir, that is not power. That is a child wearing his father's shoes. The hall finally cracked. Vivian whispered 3 words to a waiter. Call the police. The waiter nodded. Madam, I just want to apologize for the disrespect shown by my daughter's friend Amma, Vivian said, addressing the cameras directly. The Adekunle family does not discriminate. We have always treated our staff with dignity. We will continue to do so. We have never broken the law. We will not be accused at our own party of treating our staff like furniture. The Adekunle family will not be shamed in our own house. Amara sat down. Adeze was led to the staff wing at the back. She sat beside her mother at the back. Her mother held her head. My baby, Ifeoma whispered. Mama, please forgive me. There is nothing to forgive, my dear. The whole hall will forget in a week. The cameras will not forget. The cameras will keep us alive in 100 phones. The hall's cameras had kept rolling. The morning light came in warm. Banana Island kept humming. In a one-room apartment on Iyana Ipaja, the small red phone on the bedside table, a 2019 Techno with a cracked screen and a 7% battery, made one quiet ping. Then it made another. Then it made another. By the 3rd ping, it had started to hum. Ifeoma turned on the side lamp. She opened the Techno's lock screen. There was a notification. An untitled video. She tapped it. It was the Saturday party speech. She saw her daughter. She saw the borrowed gown. She saw the small white cap. She saw the red tray. She saw the senator's wife. She saw Chidi and Vivian cold-shoulder her daughter. She saw Amma stand up. She watched the video 3 times. She closed her eyes. She opened her eyes. She watched it a 4th time. She placed the phone face down on the bed. She took a breath. She took another. She took the 3rd breath and walked out into the small green garden in front of the bungalow. She sat on the wooden bench. She did not weep. She whispered one short prayer. Lord, bless the one who stood for my daughter. The phone buzzed 6 times in 8 seconds. Adeze came out from the back room. Mama, what is it? Sit, my dear. They sat. The clip. They shared it on their phones. A Twitter page in Lekki. A TikToker in Surulere. The caption says, Lagos billionaire's wife forces maid's daughter to kneel before senator. Mama, please don't look at the screen. I am 49 years old, my daughter. I have never had a moment when somebody in Abuja or Port Harcourt or Kano even once said, thank you, Ifeoma, for the rice I cooked for their father. And today, after 19 years, somebody in Accra, somebody in London, somebody in Houston, somebody in Johannesburg, somebody has finally said, thank you. Today is the day God has used a small red phone to say, thank you to me. By the time the Adekunle family woke at 7 a.m., the clip had crossed 17 million views. By the time Chidi opened Instagram at 7:24 a.m., it had crossed 26 million. By the time Vivian opened WhatsApp at 7:31 a.m., it had crossed 39 million. By the time Senator Gotani opened Twitter at 7:55 a.m., it had crossed 73 million. By the time the Tiger of Lagos opened WhatsApp at 8:24 a.m., yes, the Tiger, finally, the clip had crossed 134 million views across 10,000 shares. The clip had reached every single one of the Tiger's 327 phone contacts. The Tiger's first phone call went to Vivian. "Don't speak yet." He ended the call. The Tiger's second phone call went to Chidi. "Don't speak yet." He ended the call. The Tiger's third phone call went to a man he had not dialed in 19 years. The line was picked up on the third ring. "Chief Obina," the Tiger said. "The old debt. The debt we owe you. I am calling today, in the presence of God, to give you back your daughter." The Sunday morning church bells in Ikoyi could not reach Iyana Ipaja. They never had. Chief Obina Eze, a thin, neat, 78-year-old patriarch from Onitsha, with a slight stoop from an old polo injury and a soft accent that never quite lost the shape of Onitsha, was sitting with one pre-warmed cup of Lipton tea in a one-bedroom flat in Lagos that he had visited only once before. The flat had no TV, no Wi-Fi, no dog, no wallpaper. One small framed photograph on the bedside table, a young woman in a Lagos market, 1986. It was 8:14 a.m. The phone rang. "Chief Obina," the Tiger of Lagos said. Chief Obina set the tea back down. "Kenneth," he said. Chief Obina had been a junior partner at the Onitsha chambers of Kingsley and Eze in 1985. He had been a founding director of the Eze Bell Mining Group in 1997. He had acquired a 12%, then 17%, then 22%, then 31% stake in Adekunle Group between 1994 and 1998. He had been quietly retired, voluntarily, for the past 23 years. He had not taken a salary. He had not signed a single document in the Adekunle family in over 23 years. The Tiger, who had once called him brother, had not called him brother in 23 years. "Kenneth." "Chief Obina." "We are old." "We were brothers." "Son, my daughter is being married against her will." "Kenneth, your son has chosen, after he could not find an Igbo girl, a Yoruba girl, an Edo girl, an Itsekiri girl. After he could not find a senator's daughter, a general's daughter, a chief's daughter. Your son has chosen a cook's daughter." "Kenneth, the cook's daughter is the only heir to my family's entire estate. The cook's daughter is the only granddaughter of my late father, Obi Onyama Eze. The cook's daughter is the sole surviving heir of a 31% stake in your own company, which has been sitting in a trust in the offices of my late solicitor in Onitsha since 1994. Kenneth, where is your cook's daughter? Kenneth, your daughter, Ifeoma, has been cooking rice on your kitchen floor for 19 years. Your daughter is the maid your mother once had the privilege of employing. Kenneth, your daughter is my daughter. Your daughter, Victoria, is my granddaughter. Your daughter, Ifeoma, is my daughter-in-law. Kenneth, all the threads have come together at the same lunch. The tiger held the phone. He heard only one sentence. Your son-in-law has chosen the one girl I had been hiding for 19 years on the kitchen floor of the house of the tiger. My granddaughter, Adeze, the last of my last. The same Sunday morning. At 9:42 a.m., a small black Peugeot 508 pulled up very slowly at the gate of the blue bungalow on Iyana Ipaja. The driver stepped out and walked to the gate. He was not a uniformed driver. He was a 78-year-old man in a thin French cuff shirt with one small visible polo scar on his left wrist and one walking stick in his right hand. The driver knocked softly. "Good morning, ma." Adeze, now wearing a simple green iro and buba, no jewelry, no makeup, no gele, opened the gate. "Good morning, sir. Who is looking for Mama Ifoma?" "My name is Obi. I am here to see Mama Ifoma. I am here to see Victoria Adeze Okafor. I am here as the man who has been waiting since 1985 to walk up to this gate." Adeze blinked. "Mama, please come outside. There is a man at the gate who says his name is Obi." Ifoma came outside, wiping her hands on her apron. She went pale. "Obi." "Ifoma." "Obi, please come inside, my husband." She dropped to her knees. He knelt down beside her. "My daughter." "My husband." "My daughter, the granddaughter of the land. My daughter, the keeper of the trust. My daughter, the daughter I have kept for 19 years in the one place I knew your mother would keep you safe, on the kitchen floor of the House of the Tiger." She put her head on his chest. "Obi, my daughter. My daughter, my daughter, my daughter. Obi, my Obi. Forgive me for letting your mother break her back on a floor I owned the lease of, my daughter. Forgive me. Forgive me." She lifted his head. "Obi, you did not break my back. I have always used my back to support this family. My hands are not broken. My back is not broken. My knees are not broken." They stood. They embraced. They wept. Adeze stood at the kitchen door. She saw two old people holding each other on the floor of her one-bedroom bungalow, and she whispered the only prayer a young woman in Nigeria in 2026 can whisper, in Yoruba. "Oluwa, mi o mo enti mo dupe lowore. Sugbon mo pe iwo ni oba toda aye." Lord, I do not know whom to thank, but I know that you are the King who created the world. Monday morning. The tiger had not slept. He sat in his study, in his pajamas, holding a small red phone, and waited. At 8:14 a.m., the gate of the Adekunle compound opened, a small black Peugeot 508 with a fresh coat of blue paint pulled up. Chief Obina stepped out. He did not bring a lawyer. He brought only the 31% share certificate, original, signed, sealed, and the framed photograph of Ifeoma from 1986. "Kenneth," Chief Obina said, "I am bringing back the 31%. They walked into the study. They sat. "Chief Obina, I want to keep 31% with you." "No, Kenneth. No, Kenneth. Kenneth, I want to give all 31% back to my daughter." "They are yours, Chief. They are my granddaughters." "Kenneth, my late wife has been buried for 23 years. Every morning, the first prayer I have whispered on my knees before the first cup of tea has been a prayer for her. My late wife never forgave me for not telling her, on her deathbed, that her granddaughter had been kept, by your wife's design, in your kitchen. My late wife never forgave your mother for the beaded staff gate. My late wife never forgave your son-in-law for the borrowed shoes. Kenneth, will you call my daughter to this house?" The tiger lifted the phone. He called Ifeoma. "Mama Ifeoma, please come to the house. We have a small family meeting." We have not had a family meeting in 19 years. We cannot have a family meeting without you. Please come through the front gate. The front gate, Mama. Please. Ifeoma came. Adeze came. Chidi came. Vivian came. Amma came. The tiger rose. For 19 years, our family has forgotten to say thank you to Mama Ifeoma. For 19 years, our family has forgotten to bow to Mama Ifeoma. For 19 years, our family has forgotten to recognize Mama Ifeoma. I am, today, calling Mama Ifeoma the mother of my home. I am, today, calling Adeze my own granddaughter by law, the daughter-in-law of my own house. I am, today, retiring as the chair of Adekunle Group. And I am asking the board to vote, in this very room, on a resolution to restore 31% of the company's shares to the legal heir of the Obi Onyama Trust, Mrs. Ifeoma Okafor, on behalf of her late father. I am, today, asking the board to vote to issue an unconditional public apology to Mama Ifeoma and her daughter. And I am asking the board to vote, in this very room, on a resolution to formally apologize to Ama Ojukwu, the young woman who, by her bravery at last night's party, saved the reputation of this family. Chidi stood. He looked at his father. He looked at his mother. He looked at Duncan. He looked at the empty fifth portrait at the back of the hallway. He looked at the small white cap embroidered Adekunle house that Adeze had been forced to wear 2 nights earlier. He looked at his mother. Mom, Chidi. Mom, you raised me. Mom, you raised me to believe that money was a kind of religion. Mom, you raised me to believe that money was a kind of prayer. Mom, you raised me to believe that money was a kind of salvation. Mom, I do not recall ever wiping my own breakfast plate. Mom, I do not recall ever saying, of my own will, thank you to a kitchen hand. Mom, you intercepted all of it. Mom, you made the world smaller, so I would never have to feel the world. Mom, the wedding has been called off. I am not marrying Adeze. I am not taking the 31%. I am not taking the controlling stake in Adekunle Group. I am not taking the chair. Dad, the tiger. Chidi. Dad, I lost my bride because of how I treated her in front of people whose votes I needed. Dad, I lost your respect because of how I treated her in front of people whose votes I needed. Dad, I lost the blessings of my mother-in-law because of how I treated her in front of people whose votes I needed. Dad, I want a job. Not your job. Not at Adekunle Group. Not at Bourdillon. Not at Parkview. Not at a Lagos Island club. Chidi. Dad, I want a job anywhere in Nigeria. I want a job in Calabar. I want a job in Kano. I want a job in Maiduguri. I want a job in Sokoto. I want a job in Kaduna. I want a job in Abeokuta. Dad, I want to know, on my own shoulders, what it feels like to start a Monday with no car at the gate and no one waiting at home. The tiger did not reply. He held his breath. Vivian held her breath. Duncan held his breath. Senator Gotani held his breath. Adeze held her breath. Ifeoma held her breath. Chief Obina held his breath. Chidi walked out of the doorway, into the front garden, past the small white peacocks, without a wristwatch, without a ring, without a cufflink, without a single piece of jewelry. He took a yellow keke napep from the curb of the gate. "Where are you going, sir?" the keke rider asked. "Gone. Nowhere. Anywhere." "What is your name?" "Chidi." "Just Chidi?" "Just Chidi. Not the tiger's son." "Where are you from?" "I am from nowhere. I am starting from the beginning." The keke rider nodded. He let Chidi climb in. He drove towards Yaba. Behind him, the Adekunle compound did not move. One of the small white peacocks turned its head in his direction. The other stood still. Behind them, a single thin voice whispered from the parlor door. "Son, son, 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 my son, my son, my son." A single white bird sang from a single cedar branch in Banana Island. The bird did not understand the difference between an oil tycoon and a maid's husband. It sang the way birds always sing, regardless. In Onitsha, Chief Obina walked into a small chapel with a single cup of tea. He poured the tea in 2 parts. He kept one. He poured the other onto the grave of his late wife. "Forgive me," he said. The earth did not answer. In Abuja, Senator Gotani opened a brown envelope. He did not read it. He placed a yellow keke napep number on his desk. He promised himself, by Monday morning, he would ride to Iyana Ipaja on the keke napep. He would knock on the blue gate and ask for Mama Ifeoma's forgiveness. In Bourdillon, a single gossip blog quietly removed the photo of the borrowed gown. In Lekki, a single TikTok creator quietly ended the hashtag Adekunle at 60. In Surulere, a single school teacher quietly showed the clip to her grade 7 class. She paused at the line about the cook's table. She said, "Class, today we have learned the most important lesson in life. That the people who feed us, bathe us, dress us, drive us, sweep our floors, wash our dishes, mend our shirts, scrub our bathrooms, hand us our chairs, open our doors, pack our school bags, polish our shoes, and keep our parents alive. Those people are not footnotes in our lives. They are family." In Yaba, a single yellow keke napep slowly stopped in front of a small second-hand bookshop on Broad Street. A young man stepped out. He wore no jacket, no Rolex, no Tom Ford. He wore a simple, clean shirt. He wore a simple, clean trouser. He wore a small smile. He pushed open a single wooden door. "Good afternoon, sir. Are you looking for a job?" "Yes, I am Chidi. Just Chidi. Just Chidi. Not the tiger's son, not the heir, not the managing director. Just Chidi. Come in, Chidi. We have an opening in the back, sweeping floors. Mind if I call you young man?" "Call me son. That's what Mama Ifeoma calls me. Call me son. Come in, son. Welcome." The door closed. The bird on the Banana Island cedar sang a final note. It did not know what the tiger of Lagos owed Mama Ifeoma. It did not know what the tiger of Lagos owed Chief Obina. It did not know what the tiger of Lagos owed Adeze. It did not know what the tiger of Lagos owed Ama. But the bird did know one thing, that the people who feed us are not footnotes. They are family. They are the second family. They are the family behind the family. The story ends here, but the kettle keeps humming. The garden keeps growing. The peacock keeps dancing. The maid's daughter is now a daughter-in-law. The cook's wife is now a co-proprietor. The blind date is now a daughter. And the tiger of Lagos has finally learned, in the last year of his life, the first lesson every rich man must one day learn. That the cook cooks the rice, not for the cook. The cook cooks the rice for the family. And the family, when at last the rice is ready, must bow to the cook.